Everybody, welcome. This your boy King with my guy 30. You here with the Built Different Pod, and we got an extremely special guest for our first Up On Game Network episode, Sheryl Swoopes, the 4-time champion, 3-time MVP, the GOAT of basketball, women's basketball, and even such a implement part of the game of basketball in general, right? She here with us for the first episode. B, let them know what's good.
What's going on? It's your boy, MrGo30, of course, the Built Different Podcast, part of the Up On Game Network. Already seen Sheryl Swoopes kill him one-on-one, because, you know what I'm saying? Look, so when King talks all that trash about in basketball, we got a real legend right here.
Right.
So we're really excited to have you on, excited
Thank
to
you.
go through some questions and get your background.
Because he definitely talks a lot of trash.
A lot. But listen, I can back it up.
And don't back nothing up either.
He already knows.
Don't back nothing up.
Ask him where his money went in my pocket.
Well, you owe me $5 right now.
How much did you?
As we speak, you owe me $5.
And you're still in the hole.
As you speak, and I'm not in the hole at all. But let's not make this about us.
Let's not lie to the people.
No, let's do. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm good.
No, let's get to what y'all came here to see. So we got Miss Sheryl Swoopes. First question I had to ask you was, because I always hear a lot people talk to you about you as the Michael Jordan of the WNBA, the woman Michael Jordan. And I just wanted to get from you, how does that make you feel, number one? Do you feel that, or what parts of your game do you think, when people say that, they're really referring to when they talk about that comparison with Michael Jordan?
I don't know. To be very honest with you, like, Michael Jordan has always been my role model, like my idol. Unfortunately, I never really got an opportunity to watch women play, so I tuned into every game that I could find that the Bulls were playing. And it wasn't because I tried to model my game after him. I just respected his game. Like, MJ will forever be the GOAT in my opinion. There will never be another one. Yes, I did put that out there.
Yes, sir.
So like I obviously take that as a compliment and an honor, because again, I just so respected every aspect of his game. It bothers me today when people compare female players to male players, because we have so many great female players that I think you could compare current players to. So yeah, that bothers me today. It didn't bother me so much then because you didn't have women on television like that playing basketball. So when people say that, I'm not sure. One thing I would say is, I think Michael wasn't only a hell of an offensive player, he was a hell of a defensive player. So maybe that's it, because I took a lot of pride in being a two-way player. Like, I didn't want to just be a great offensive player or defensive player. I wanted my all-around game to be great. So I don't know. I don't say that because he was like
2-time still champion, says it all.
But he was just the man, you know. And yeah, there are parts of his game I'm like, I wish I could do that. Honestly, I kind of felt like a lot of my game resembles some of Scottie Pippen's game.
Ooh, okay.
And maybe it's just being, I don't know, like longer, leaner, getting in passing lanes. Like, MJ was a great defender, but I don't think he played the passing lanes like Scottie Pippen did. And my defensive game, that's what I did. I thought I read passing lanes really well, and you know, I like taking chances on defense.
And what about attitude too? Because, you know, Mike, you know, he wasn't always well liked by his teammates.
Oh no.
Do you feel like that was you on
I
your
agree
team
with
as
that.
well?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think there were a lot of my teammates that I played with, whether that was with the Comets, the Olympic team, and even in college. Like, a lot of my teammates, probably I wasn't their best friend. And honestly, and I really didn't care, nor was I trying to. I was trying to win championships. So when people say that about MJ, like he wasn't very likable or his teammates didn't like him, but you know what I do say? His teammates respected him,
right,
because they knew what he was all about and what he stood for. And that was definitely one thing that I tried to do with my game. Is I didn't talk a lot, but I wanted to lead by example, and my teammates were either going to choose to come along or they got left behind.
Definitely.
Perfect, Sheryl. All right. So let me be me and be controversial, just slightly.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
All right?
Of course,
So,
that's you.
That's me, right? So let me ask you a question. No, can you give your opinion or your insights on the situation going on currently with Brittany Griner?
Oh. Yes and no.
Okay.
I can say this as a sister who played in the WNBA. You know, we're a sisterhood and we're a family, so you never want to see a family member, one of your sisters, go through what she's going through. Right. So from that standpoint, I will say it hurts my heart. And the only other thing I will say or can say is I hope she comes home soon.
Perfect. Definitely.
Well, let me ask this one last question. So, for those that don't know, you have a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
Let's hear about that. Let the people know what that's about.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So my nonprofit, I have a nonprofit. It's called the Sheryl Swoopes Foundation for Youth. But I have a program in that nonprofit that we're currently doing a lot of work with. It's called Back to Our Roots. And Back to Our Roots is a nonprofit organization where our mission is to empower and educate our African American youth, to teach them our history, like where we come from, meaning taking them back to Africa, doing DNA testing for those who may want it, and just educating them on, you know, it frustrates me because I don't feel like we're being taught in school.
Yeah.
And without getting political, I feel like as an African American woman who's kind of been through a lot of things, that's part of my job and responsibility. And because I have a young son and I have nieces and nephews who question every single day, do we belong? Where do we belong? How do we fit in? And so I say this to people all the time, even the three of us sitting here, if our ancestors somewhere down the line weren't as tough and strong as they were to survive slavery and what they went through, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. So when people talk about us not being strong enough or tough enough, I say we are the strongest and toughest people on the planet because of what our ancestors went through.
And just to piggyback off of that, my sister, she actually, she did her DNA testing, and she was able to come back with the fact that, you know, most of our blood, most of our DNA comes from Mali in Africa. And it was empowering to me to go back and, you know, learn about that, learn about, you know, some of the great people, and Mansa Musa, I got the tat on my arm and everything. It's such a great sense of pride.
Kunte?
Yes, to do
That's
that.
an amazing story.
To do that, that research, it brings a great sense of pride. But also I want to ask about how you feel where the state of the WNBA is now, and where do you see it going, and maybe what changes or what needs to continue to keep it there or get to a better place? You
know, so the league started in 1997, and I remember that because I was pregnant with my son. So my son's 25, so the league is, they say the league's 26 years old, but I definitely think the league's headed in the right direction. I think what people tend to forget about is that the NBA wasn't that successful at 25 years, right? Like it took some time for the NBA to get to where it is. And, you know, for me, and maybe I'm different, I don't really like comparing the two leagues, the WNBA and NBA, because we are the WNBA, and 25 years really isn't very long to be as successful as I think the league will be. But I definitely think they've made some changes where I see the growth of it. The talent in the league today is, honestly, there's so much parity. I know when it first started, you probably had 3, maybe 4 teams that people thought would win a championship every year. And today, honestly, it's almost like any team. You know, of all the teams, any team could win a championship. But you know, of course, I'm going to sit here and say, yeah, the women deserve more money. I think that's a conversation that we'll continue to have. But when I look at, you know, things that they've started to do for mental health and for maternity leave and for women who get pregnant, like, because we went through that, they now understand what's needed. And then when you talk about what else needs to change, travel. So I would say money and travel. Like as a professional league, and I don't even care if you're 5'5" or 6'5", you're a professional athlete. And when you look at players having to travel commercial and you have back-to-back games, and with all the flights that are canceled today, like, it's tough. So to know that you have to be on a commercial plane and then you got to fly to a city and play that same night, it is tough. Like, it's mentally and physically draining. So those are two areas that I would love to see the league change in the next few years. And, you know, I think it's a matter of time before we're not having that discussion anymore.
That's big.
That's good. That's good. So
I hope.
No, that was a great insight, because again, being some of the novice to the game and just what women go through, I personally never thought, damn, they do. Like, if somebody wants to get pregnant, they need maternity leave.
Yeah.
You can't not pay them, right? If you go to work in a regular 9 to 5, you have that luxury. So it's important, and especially to travel, because even, not to get too deep into it, like with the Mike Tyson situation, right? Like, people are looking for an opportunity now in this day and age to go viral.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
to
yeah.
be,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And utilize and use those that have that following to be able to do that.
Yep.
Right? So that's very important to have that security.
And then
I think they need it.
it was like a big thing on social media, Twitter, because they had an all-star game. And the trophy, I don't know if you've seen it, it was like, I mean, it was like this. It was
It
like
wasn't
this
real.
big. Okay, so it was
No,
social
and I'm
media.
saying, I know it's social media. To your
Yeah.
point, social media takes things sometimes and completely blow it out of perspective.
Right.
Like, I totally understand what you're talking about,
Yeah.
because Kelsey Plum won MVP, got her trophy. No, Alicia Gray, excuse me, and got her trophy, right? All-Star was Kelsey Plum. Alicia Gray was Commissioner's Cup. So everybody was joking about how little her MVP trophy was, and said it came from somewhere. Well, it actually came from Tiffany's, and it was a very legitimate MVP trophy. So
Right.
I will clear that up. But I will say this, the other thing on Twitter that was real when you talk about travel was one of the LA Sparks, Nneka Ogwumike, who posted some of them had to sleep overnight in the airport, and then some slept in rooms at the hotel, but they didn't have enough rooms for the entire team because their flight got delayed, then it got canceled. And so it's stuff like that that has to change. Otherwise, the league is never going to grow or get to a point where it should be.
Right. That's a good point. All right, so let's talk about the event currently, man. Elite Sheryl Swoopes Camp, first annual camp, right? It's not stopping here. Tell me, or tell the people a little bit what it means to you to have the coaching staff, the community involvement, everybody here, such as myself,
Yeah.
and Up on Game and 30, to be able here to highlight your event and everything that you've been doing in the community, because people might not know, Sheryl, and how giving you are. When we met, like, man, me and you, like, we be going at it. Like, you are really down to earth.
Listen, I love life, you know. I love people. My passion has always been the community, giving back, and in particularly with girls, because girls don't have all of the opportunities that young men have and boys have. So for me, that's always been a passion that I've had. So, you know, when we first met, and I was like, who is this dude? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I was a little late too.
Nobody told me that one.
They're not going to tell you that. I was a little late. But, you know, it was an immediate connection, though. Like, I heard and I felt the passion that you have for everything that you do. And to your point, you know, I don't think people truly understand what it means to me to give back to the community. And, I mean, it's great. There's so many girls who, unfortunately, don't have this opportunity. So, oh, God, I'm sorry. Oh, my eyes are a little bad. And for me to be able to give them an opportunity that a lot of them may not have had, and say, we're going to have a free, because that's to me, that's pretty big time, because people don't really do that either, but have a free camp where we're going to take 30 elite girls, and you're bringing in some amazing coaches who, they don't live here.
Right.
And so even with every single coach that's here, like, the gratitude that I have for them, and have never met any of you, and for y'all to just say we're there, right? And without that, I'm not able to do this. And without the sponsors that we have, and so I definitely want to mention the sponsors, because without the sponsors, we wouldn't be having this moment. And I am going to look at my paper because I don't want to leave out anybody. But I mean, obviously, I say obviously because I've been a part of the Nike family for over 20-something years. So Nike, Kroger, Pepsi, Chick-fil-A, Jordan Brand, and you know, our PR firm with Boom Media and Image Consulting everybody has just come together and said, what do you need? Let's make it happen. And so for me, it's important that these young ladies are given as many opportunities as the young boys. And to your point, this is the first Swoopes Hoops Elite annual camp. It's the first, not the last. And my hopes are that it's only going to get bigger. We're going to get to a point where we'll have more sponsors. But for me, I would love to be able to have more than 30 girls because there's so much talent out there. And it's definitely something that we want to take on the road.
Yes, definitely. So look forward to that, everybody.
30 is a good number, though.
You like that?
I love that
I
number.
bet you do. Yeah. Is that why we went with 30?
Appreciate that.
No, there is no.
Appreciate that.
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna give him no credit. Yeah, listen, that's not why we did it. But
I like that though.
But yeah, and real quick, for anybody that wants to follow what's been going on, or follow Sheryl, it's Air Swoopes 22 for her personal. Swoopes Hoops is for the elite camp and for the camps that we'll have in the future. And I know how big Sheryl is on making sure she gets back wherever she goes. So all cities, look out for it. We're coming to take over. We like MJ women's and basketball right here.
Yes.
We heard it. But for everybody, you know, that's our first episode on the Up On Game Network with the great Sheryl Swoopes. It's your boy King. Again, if you need me, PG_Crown_King. With my guy 30, he's gonna let you know where to follow him.
Yes, sir. MrGo30 on every social platform. And, you know, we got to get a basketball in here because I got to challenge Sheryl Swoopes myself. You know what I mean? Because I'm the one-on-one champ where I'm from. So we gotta make it happen. You from Virginia?
Do you know how tired I get from hearing that all the time?
But
I'm gonna prove it. We got the basketball, we got the hoop.
Hey,
let's
make
make
sure
it happen.
we get the pictures of these on the wall. Like, this is not for games here. So again, it's your boy King with 30 with Sheryl. We hope you enjoyed it. We coming back.